Evening, everybody. Welcome back to Gooner Gathering. I am birthday boy Gooner Lee Meads, joined by the poshest man in all of sports entertainment, Posh Bertie. How are you, mate?
Well, happy bloomin' birthday, my good man. What better way to celebrate your 24th birthday than being with yours truly on Gooner Gathering? I couldn't think of any other better way apart from going for a few pints at the Chelmsford pub. He is not an old man, Stacey. He's 24. And I say that as
She
a
knows the truth,
22-year-old.
mate. She knows. She sent me a
Anyway.
hilarious gift this morning and said, "You're how old?" so yes, this is the truth. But I wanted to come in here on Gooner Gathering. We've got a bit to talk about. He's older than me. I know, mate. I know.
He's
We've
older
got a
than me
show
as well.
to do. Yeah. Well, I'm a
Only
professional.
2 years older.
Only a couple, mate. Yeah. But we've got. I'm a professional broadcaster. We've got things to talk about today. I've flipped over my notes. There you go. I need to find the first page. There we go. I've got lots of notes, just like my broadcast colleague. All right, Stace, you don't have to put your blimmin' date of birth and what I had for breakfast up on the stream, you know? Come on, give me a break, mate. So where should we start, Posh? Where should we start? Wolves on Saturday after an emphatic six of the best over a Champions League night. Where do you want to start first? After a little bit more considered time from Wednesday, what would you think in we played on Wednesday night, and how does that transform into the next one?
Oh, well, we've got to keep that momentum going, haven't we? We've got to make sure we win against the Wolverhampton Wanderers, which we should be doing. Last time we played them, we smashed them 5-0, and that was with Partey at right back. But then again, that was no pressure FC back then, and there is a little bit of pressure on us today. We could at least briefly go 4 points clear at the top if we beat them. I'm expecting us to. We're at home against Wolves. They're a team that we should be beating comfortably. But you know that Gary O'Neill, he's one for a bit of a masterclass when you least expect it. So you got to be careful of that. But I do think we have enough quality to get to beat Wolves at home. Surely.
Who's Shirley? Bessie?
Shirley Crabtree.
Fair enough. Look, I kind of shudder when you say Gary O'Neill, because I kind of remember Bournemouth and what they did to us and my heart rate last season.
That's what I'm saying.
But I told you it was never in doubt, so there's nothing to worry about. Don't know what you... But I think one thing we probably do need to do, let's talk about the end of the Brentford game and the start of Wednesday's game. And it was one Kai Havertz again coming up with the goods, and having a player now that's got a bit of confidence. This is what I've been saying since day one. Give the guy a bit of time, he'll get a bit of confidence and he'll start scoring some goals. So is he done for the season now?
We'll have to wait and see. I hope you're right about his confidence, and I hope he continuously puts in good performances, because he's on a bit of a run, is Kai Havertz. He's turning into quite a goal machine. 2 goals in 2 games.
3 and 4, including Germany.
Yes, indeed. So he's definitely on a bit of a run at the moment. Who knows? He might, if he starts against Wolves, I think we might get some form of rotation. Especially we've got a one hell of a run of games coming up soon.
Succession as well.
I've seen that fixture list, and but yeah,
sounded like the Triple H laugh on his entrance music, that mate.
Well, you know, our fixture list is tough. But I think
the next 20 minutes, he will talk about VAR.
I hope Kai Havertz ends up doing well now that he's got a couple of goals under his belt now. And yeah, good on him. Long may it continue.
Yeah.
and the Arsenal fans once again chanting 60 million down the drain. So
Yeah,
there's a bit of
there is
no,
a bit
he's
there.
not showing that at the moment.
Well, I want to start. So I looked into the press conference that happened earlier on, and one thing that Mikel Arteta was talking about was saying, he himself personally will support him just like any other player, and he wanted to give him time to show his qualities. That's what he's doing. Everything's starting to come together with him. He said, I think I might have mentioned this over on Sophs on Monday, saying that some of the things he was doing better. That was certainly in my eyes. That's certainly what I thought I'd saw. And it's just nice to have some of the end product finally showing. I'm not going to get carried away. Look, I know I'm super positive. That's me. But the two crucial goals we're talking about, and actually I thought Havertz's general play as well in the whole of the Lens game was absolutely fantastic. But we had two crucial moments. We had a winning goal at the end of Brentford and the opening goal against Lens. They are two massive moments. As I said, if it could have gone the other way, if we hadn't, and it was goalless and it carried on, the pressure would have built it again. So I think it's important to bring that up. And he's also being, in Arteta's words now, a bit more efficient, and he's a positive and influential figure in the team. So there's some big words from Arteta there, and he has to, because as I think you might have mentioned a few times, that there was a big old fee involved. I think it was 65 million, if I'm right. So I think that's the figure quoted, right? But he is starting to have an effect on it, and like you say, long may it continue. Now he only played 15 minutes against Brentford, played the whole match against Lens. So whether he plays or not tomorrow, it's tomorrow, isn't it? I'm getting myself confused on what day it is, because it's Friday and I haven't been in work today. So that's been nice. Been a day in lieu today. It's been nice. So moving away from your favourite German centre forward stroke left back.
Miroslav Klose.
Yeah,
I thought he retired.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't sound like there's any more injury worries to talk about as a whole. Ben White was a bit of a concern before the Lens game, because it was widely reported he hadn't gone out to train with the other fellas. He and Vieira was missing. I'll get to Vieira in just a minute. But Vieira did play as a sub. He was with this. Did you see this? I put on the WhatsApp group. Ben White wasn't training initially, but he was with the strength and conditioning coach at Arsenal. Do you know what his name was?
Would you care to tell us?
Yeah, it's Sam Wilson.
There we go. No wonder why I haven't been on this channel in a while.
There you go. It's been moonlighting as a physio over at Arsenal. So anyway, he did play. It was interesting that we had a little bit of early rotation in the game in the Champions League, and we could do it. I mean, the likes of Tomiyasu had a little bit of a break, so Ben could pick up the baton and carry on going. It was nice that Kivior played 45 minutes at left back in place of Zinchenko. I did say I was going to mention Vieira. He would have been suspended anyway for tomorrow and Tuesday's game, which is a late one, by the way, on Tuesday. It's on Amazon Prime against Luton, I want to say.
Luton away, yeah.
Good. I did read the fixture list right. So he would have missed them anyway because he got a straight red card a couple of weeks ago. But it sounds like we ain't going to be seeing him for a little while anyway, because he's had to go in for surgery. Bit of a blow in terms of depth of the squad there, mate. Your thoughts on Vieira missing for a little while?
It's a shame for him. I think at the start of the season he performed quite well. He ended up being one of our best penalty takers as well, rather surprisingly. But again, getting sent off against Burnley, that happened as well, which wasn't exactly a good moment. I think for the sake of squad depth, it'll be a miss, but as of the last few games, he's not exactly been a regular starter, if that makes sense. But I do think another injury in a season where we have had quite a lot of injuries, it's concerning. I just, like I said, I think are the training drills too intense? I don't know. It's just a theory that I have.
Yeah, you bring that up every time we get injuries, but there's a lot of more of, if you go broader on the Premier League as a whole, bringing up a stat that I read off the old X the other day. I'm thinking something like 200 injuries across the board in the Premier League alone since we started the season up. It's probably maybe a bit of overwork, perhaps. I would say with the overwork, the amount of games that people play is a factor. That's not going to be the case with Vieira because he only plays on your rotation.
Season. We play the same amount of games every season. Maybe it was a bit more intense last season because of the World Cup in the middle of it. But as far as I'm aware, I think the Premier League has had the same amount of games this season.
Yes, it has.
Than it has all the other seasons, bar last season.
I think the injuries are up. Bear in mind, we had the intense season last season with the World Cup in the middle of it as well. That's kind of the point I was trying to get across.
Yeah, and again, that was last season though.
Yeah, but there wasn't much of a gap in between, was there? So, and that's kind of the point. And some of the injuries that we had, some of them would have been linked onto the back end of last season anyway. Look at Jesus, who just before we were about to kick off the season, picked up an injury just on the back of, or an aggravated injury on the back of the Emirates Cup game, all off the top of my head. So that one was an ongoing issue. Zinchenko was an ongoing issue, which he still somewhat struggles to get 90 minutes down when he plays. Probably one of the reasons he was kind of rested for a little bit on Wednesday, actually. Ben White, he's normally been quite consistent, but he's missed the last couple through a little niggle and stuff like that. So, but just a little point to go through on that. Shall we talk about the Wolves news just a little bit, just briefly, before we move on to any other subjects as we get the team news thing done? I'll just clear my other screen going on there. I might butcher his pronunciation. This is a fullback I'm talking about. Ratan Isnoiri, I think it is. He's the guy who went off early in the game on Monday for Matt Doherty. The player has returned to Wolves after he had his spell at Tottenham. Then he got terminated, if you remember.
Went on loan to Atletico Madrid as well.
That's right. It's rare for players from the home countries to go abroad.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, so that's all right. So maybe Doherty could play there. There's two lads that are suspended for Wolves, which will sort of breeze over a little bit. Gomez and Lemina suspended for picking up the 5 yellow cards. That all happened on Monday night. So they are going to have to make some serious changes into their midfield. I don't know who they're going to replace them with. Have you any thoughts? Put any thought into this one? Probably not.
No, I haven't. I'm not a Wolverhampton Wanderers supporter, and I don't know any Wolverhampton Wanderers supporters. So I can't really think of who goes into their midfield. I've not been focusing on their team as much. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But it looks like they're going to have to make some changes.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. All right, so we'll see when everybody else speaks about the team news at 2:00 tomorrow. It's a shame it's a non-TV game this one. So
that's all right. It means we're going to put in a great performance.
What are you suggesting, Posh? Something you want to tell me on air?
So I've come to a realization, and I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on here. This season, our best performances have come when we haven't done any watch-alongs. And when we have done, we've either eked out a win or have lost. against Man United, 96th minute. That was great, by the way. But we needed to.
That was a great game. I watched that back today.
Oh, it was Jesus' goal. I still watch to this day. Diego
I thought
Dalot
my
sliding
commentary was
away and
brilliant.
everything. Yeah. Chelsea was 2-2. We would have watched the Newcastle game, and if due to other circumstances, but then again, we didn't watch that, so maybe that's a bit of a different one.
Yeah.
West Ham 3-1 loss. Everton and Crystal Palace have been 1-0 to the Arsenals.
Even they had their moments.
Yeah.
But that sort of summarises the season, though, doesn't it? It does summarise the season that for a large part, we're not playing the free-flowing, exciting 100-mile-an-hour football that we were playing for the large parts of last season. However, saying that, we are still on a really good record in the league in terms of results. In terms of, we only had one defeat in the league, and that was the St James's Park game, which we all know why that happened, or one of the reasons why that happened is we didn't play well. And the other reason was that, obviously, the VAR thing, which, we've spoken about it a million times before.
Wasn't the be-all and end-all in the whole game as to why we lost that.
That's why I preceded it by saying we didn't play very well first.
Yeah, I know.
So just making sure you knew where I was coming from on that.
No, I was adding on to it, but yeah.
Yeah. So as a result of that, by the way, and because Tuesday is Amazon Prime, which is an online service for the large part, don't think it makes an awful lot of sense us being online doing a watch along on Tuesday night when it's going to be difficult for me anyway. So we will perhaps cover that game later next week at some stage on a review short show, pretty similar to this one, if that's all good with you, sir.
Next Saturday, though, which it'll be on Sky Sports at 5:30 against Aston Villa of all teams. A cold night in Birmingham with the TV cameras on, managed by Unai Emery, and we could potentially be doing a watch along of it. Oh, I don't know about that. It's got 3-1 Villa written all over it, in my opinion. But we'll move on to that when that game comes on. Spencer says, "Happy birthday, Lee."
Thanks, mate. Much appreciated. Thank you, all of you, as are watching us. By the way, I can see a good handful of you over watching us live, and I know some people will be watching later on as well. So thank you to all of you who do watch us on demand as well. Thank you, AFC, always. Thank you very much for your nice comment. That's appreciated greatly. If you could all do me a little favour, just a little one, right? If you could just hit that like button, make sure you're all subscribed. If you go onto your X page and Twitter, have a look at what I tweeted out earlier on. If you can retweet the fact that we are live, just retweet. Don't do anything else. No in DMs, anything like that. But a retweet really, really makes a lot of difference. Puts new names looking at our channel, which we want to do. If by the end of our stream we could hit the 250 subscriber mark, I think we're only about 3 away. So if we could do that, guys, that would be incredible. It'd be the best present I could get. So thank you. AFC always says we will not beat Villa away. I think we did last season, didn't we?
Only just, but we'll get to that when that game comes around. We'll get to that.
Agent Martinez came to the rescue, if I recall.
Absolutely, but we'll have to see what happens when that game comes, which is in 2 games' time.
2 games' time on the Saturday early evening kickoff on Sky. If I can do it with you, I will. But
oh no, that means we're going to lose because we're doing a watch along.
But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. All right. I'm gonna continue on with the Arsenal stuff next, and then I want to bring up a little segment. VAR moan of the week. All right.
Okay.
I want to just focus just briefly on Tomiyasu, just as a player, and getting game time, getting consistency, playing all the vast majority of the season. Certainly for me, was unexpected. Right. Had a part to play, of course, in Kai's goal over Saturday last week. A lot of talk about him two reasons. It was a big emphasis on the fact that the difference between he and Ben White is that Tomiyasu does offer quite a bit more going forward. He does offer quite a lot, certainly crosses going into the penalty area, attacking runs and all that sort of thing. Tomiyasu was fire. I think he's been fire the whole season, actually, whether you put him at the right or even on the left, which isn't his normal position. Has played it before, of course. I do remember him playing Liverpool on that left side to particularly take care of Mo Salah. And that worked out an absolute treat that time. But and with the form and being the consistent player that he is, bit of talk that Tomiyasu has been linked with a new contract. That one you want to see, I presume?
Absolutely. If any player deserves a contract extension, it's Tomiyasu. Steve Wilson says happy birthday to Lee.
Hello, mate.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us again.
Tomiyasu, wrestling reference incoming in 3, 2, 1. He's been the MVP of the season so far, or definitely the most underrated. Game in, game out, he's Mr. Consistent. I said before, he reminds me of Nacho Monreal. He's way better. He's better than him, by far. I think Tomiyasu is an excellent defender. Definitely, as I said, one of the MVPs of the season. He deserves a contract extension. Definitely.
Really good comparison, that, mate. I want to commend you on that.
I said it in I said that in the Sheffield United game.
Yeah.
Because I called him Mr. Consistent. And I said when he turns up, when he gets a chance to be on the pitch, he just gives you a solid 7 out of 10, doesn't he? So he kind of reminds me of that Tommy Cafu. There you go.
Nice.
Oh.
That is one of your best comments ever. I appreciate that quite a lot, mate. Thank you. It's made me smile. That I like that. I like that reference a lot. So just my train of thought.
You commended me to my comparison of Tomiyasu and Monreal, even though he's better than him.
With the Monreal thing, I thought with Monreal in a team that obviously was going through a very difficult time, we weren't anywhere near the championship levels there, picking up the big trophies, etc. He was always a regular, like you said the 7 out of 10 thing. He was always playing all the time, putting on really good displays, had a lot of leadership. I think Tomiyasu's a little bit more explosive. Saying that, as a defender as well, I've often said it here, particularly, I feel so much safer in Tomiyasu's hands when he's playing left back. But obviously when he's on the right, he can do what he did on Saturday and put crosses in, because it's easier, obviously, because he's right-footed to swing that ball in. It's a ton easier to do that than on his wrong side. So hopefully he gets his contract sorted out. That'd be amazing. My brother's here as well. Hello, Nick. Thank you for joining us, mate. Many, many thank yous for doing that. If you could share the stream around a bit, mate, that would be amazing. Get some more Aussie fan base about. That would be incredible. Thanks, mate.
Absolutely. It'll be 8:45 in the morning, I believe.
Yeah.
In Australia. So good morning. And Lee is
24, I think.
Lee's birthday was yesterday in your world, Nick.
It's so confusing, isn't it? I know. The other one up for contract talks is still ongoing, of course, is Ben White. Whole heap of contract extensions happened in the summer. One obviously is going really well to plan. There's Mr. Ramsdale, but 7:45. But other ones committing their future to the club, obviously trying to build a bit of stability, building a bit of a core, bit like what Wenger did at the time, actually. Some core players into a side that be around for quite some time, and they sort of work the team around these core players. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you mentioned the contract extensions, I think the Saliba contract extension also was a work of art, because he has been one of our best players.
Sensational.
I set up a Leon Gaffer group. Whatever
Leon
that
Gaffer
is.
is the area where my brother lives in Australia. So thanks,
Okay.
mate. No, that's brilliant. If we can get Nick,
Right.
just to fill you in because you're a little bit late on, we are about 3 away from 250 subscribers, mate. So if we can get some of your mates to hit the button, we get us over the 250 by the end of the screen. That'll be brilliant. That'll be the best birthday present I could get today. So cheers, mate. So yeah, I think I've just mentioned Ben White, which one was an ongoing thing. All right, so let's talk about the VAR moan of the week, shall we?
I need a graphic, like
VAR
Harry
moment
Hill.
of the
VAR
week.
moan of the week.
So, and we'll sort of extend it a little bit because of there's some chat about some new rules potentially coming in to help the game, right? To help the game.
Can I just address this comment here from your brother saying Edu is easily the best sports director in Europe? Nick,
goodness.
it's 7:48 in the morning. Do stop drinking at that time, please.
Don't upset my brother. He will come at you. He will. Nick, do you want to join in, mate? If you want to, just say, yeah, I'm in for a row.
Oh, 2-on-1 handicap match.
the Gooner boys against the
the Gooner boys
big
versus the
man.
posh one.
Right. We'll move on. Because I'm trying to bring up the VAR thing.
Yeah.
Mentioned a little bit ago that Gary O'Neill's Wolves side were really hard done by against Fulham on Monday. Couple of really bad VAR calls. It's certainly, in my view, certainly for Willian's, former Arsenal player, him scoring the late penalty. There was also, I believe, a poor, wasn't there? It should have been a red card in there as well. Lots to talk about. Lots of decisions. The Newcastle game we have to talk about against PSG in the Champions League. If you recall, Livramento got a handball decision against him right at the end of the game, which is nothing that he could have done about it. Let's just sort of go through Eddie Howe, the Newcastle manager, saying more VAR calls decisions will ruin the game. And if we head over to Fulham and Marco Silva, in referring back to the Wolves game, had sympathy for Wolves for the late penalty. The Vinicius alleged headbutt as well on Max Kilman in that game. But then would expect sympathy because he's had VAR decisions against him, particularly when they lost to Brentford for a penalty that wasn't, and a yellow card that wasn't given to Tim Ream. I can't send a super chat. Please have a few drinks on me. Thank you very much. If you wanted to tip us or help us out on the channel, you can do that. There's a pinned tweet on the Gooner Gathering Twitter page or X page. It's like buy me a coffee, I believe it's called. You can click on that and you can put a little donation if you want to. Completely up to you. You can do it on PayPal and it's all secure and safe. Mr. Wonders did exactly that for the channel, so that was appreciated. And if you want to, thank you. That'd be amazing. If not, have a bevy on me anyway, son. That's wonderful. Thank you.
I believe the website is called Kofi. The website, that is, not the wrestler.
Boom, boom, boom. SOS. I need to find where I was again. So we're talking about the VAR things. And Arteta actually was asked, did he feel any sympathy for Gary O'Neill? Gary O'Neill, if you heard this, was very, very open, much like Arteta was against Newcastle, for his comments after that game. And on top of yes, the one, Kofi Kingston. And on top of that, with more VAR calls and stuff being talked about, maybe they could look back at sort of like, should this moment have been a corner? Should this moment have been a throw on, etc.? On top of all this extra talk on new decisions and new things that could possibly come in or be trialed. There's this new thing been talked about by a board called sin bins. A bit like, if there's any rugby fans, I know Spencer's a rugby fan, where, say, if someone commits a bit of I don't know what that means, Nick. If someone commits a bad challenge, not maybe quite a red card challenge or something, but serious enough, they'll get this yellow card instead of walking around with it'll be sent to the sidelines for 10 minutes until the penalty clock runs out, right? Wanted to ask Bertie his thoughts about extending VAR rules and the sin bin thing and all that sort of thing.
So they actually do this in not the main non-leagues, but like the lower leagues.
The grassroots level is what you're saying.
The grassroots. I'm talking teams like Snodland Town and Cray Valley Paper Mills. Those teams they have the sin bin rule. I don't know how long they've had it, but yeah, so this is the orange card, I think they call it as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I think I really don't know, because I think that it'll be introduced anyway, whether you like it or not. I am a guy that wants to say, stop trying to ruin our game, stop trying to put more rules. And the argument is, but it will sort out the fouls or whatever. But look at what VAR did. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on all of this? Because, I don't know.
I enjoyed watching the game so much more without it.
Yeah.
And doing what we do.
I meant the sin bins, not the VAR.
The sin bins kind of works for rugby. I don't know. Until I see it, it's difficult. But I'm not a fan of it. I'd be more of a fan if some of the challenges were dealt with more seriously. When we've seen enough potential leg breakers and stuff like that, that even if they don't follow through on a tackle, if there's intent there, I don't know. I don't like the sin bin idea. In fact, I'll quote from the other side of North London, Big Ange saying you can sin bin it. The whole idea. That was his quote on the question.
Is that what Postecoglou said? I mean,
yeah.
There you go. Very rarely I praise a Tottenham manager, but there you go. I think he's he might be onto something there.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. It's just something that was brought about in a panel, which my understanding was like there's about 5 or 6 on this panel, including former referee. You're familiar with the Italian Collina? That's the fella.
Collina, yeah, bald man. I know him.
That's the
scary
fella.
Eyes. Him, yeah.
One of the most respected and one of the referees back in day. Would have had no messing about and was actually one of the finest referees in the game. But then this panel kind of represents the whole game. There's a representative from England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland, and I think there might be one other representative. That's it. And the whole of football, there's about 6 people who get a vote in all of these decisions they want to do, and it seems a bit weird in a global game only have a certain amount of representation in making big decisions. Certainly for an organisation, can't remember its name off the top of my head, but one that's been around with supporting the referees for over 100 years or so. So I'm going to go in through to the comments a little bit because there's quite a few in there.
Yeah.
So Nick saying wants to see for VAR more matter of the fact issues, such as when the ball goes out or not. I think 4 million affected issues, I suppose. Format affected issues such as when the ball goes out of play. There's a reason why we can't make that automated. Problem with VAR It's it's not the technology, but the people that run it. Yes, I probably agree with.
Hear it. I hear that every week. You get new people coming in, the same mistakes happen. So
yeah, absolutely. It happens all the time, doesn't it?
VAR is here to stay, says AFC always.
That's the thing. I probably agree with you. It's something we're going to have to deal with.
AFC always says, would you go the same 11 that played Lons against Wolves? I think we'll probably see some form of rotation, not heavily, but I think there'll be. I think Havertz might not play, despite him being on form. I think we might stick to Rice, Jorginho, and Odegaard again, I reckon.
Okay.
I think we might see Tomiyasu at right back and Kivior at left back again.
That could happen. It could happen. It's what we started with, I believe. So I'm just watching. I'm watching on another monitor a bit of a interesting times on the England versus the Netherlands game, which I won't talk about a great deal here. Right, I'll move on.
I'll probably also see Trossard on the wings, maybe up front to rest Jesus a bit.
I agree with that. So I put that on AFC Lucas chat earlier on. I'd probably see us changing the two fullbacks. So potentially Zinchenko not playing, potentially not White playing again, because I don't want to see if White has an issue. I don't want him being rushed back. Jesus is another one I'm concerned about with his game time, and I'd probably like to go with Trossard doing the false nine thing that he's also done quite successfully previous. So that's kind of the team news that we spoke about a little bit before. VAR never made a mistake in the World Cup, so why are they making so many wrong decisions in the league? And I'll add a little caveat to that: the Champions League as well. I mean, let's talk briefly about the Newcastle one, because I know you had something to say about the Newcastle game on Twitter, which will allow you to talk about if you like. But for example, that sort of penalty that was given when the ball sort of ricocheted off the player, then hit his hand, for that to be given a penalty was an absolute disgrace.
Yeah, I think it was a terrible decision. They got it completely wrong. To say Newcastle were hard done by was a bit of an understatement. But then again, you go, and this doesn't apply to just Newcastle. This applies to any Premier League club that's playing. You go on Twitter, and if you follow a bunch of Arsenal fans, you will see the Gabriel foul screenshot again, and the ball potentially out of the area against Newcastle. You'll see all those screenshots, and you'll see Arsenal fans making every VAR decision all about them. And this is why a lot of fans hate us, because we make these things about us. We give us the main attention, even though it's about the other clubs. And also because of that decision again in the Newcastle game when we played them, a lot of Arsenal fans are now the same Arsenal fans that didn't want to force a rivalry between Arsenal and West Ham over the Declan Rice deal are now trying to force a rivalry between Arsenal and Newcastle because of the VAR decision. I just find that ridiculous, really. I think when it comes to a club with VAR problems and everything, it should be about them, not about Arsenal, because I see it in the Man City-Liverpool game. You go on Twitter, oh, look, but what about Arsenal, though? How come that's a foul, but the thing on Gabriel wasn't?
Yeah.
Every game, I'm sick of it. I know it was the Newcastle game against us had a controversial decision, but that's happened. And I think when it comes to other clubs with VAR decisions that have been happening, you should support them rather than talk about your club.
I think the other thing you said is that why don't we all just unite a little bit and just say, look, the whole thing about VAR was an experiment that has caused probably more trouble than it's worth, and the game was probably more fun with a bit of more instantaneous sort of decisions rather than waiting about a minute or so before we know that something's a goal or not. I think that's probably about right. But yeah, like I say, unfortunately, the technology is there. It is going to stay, despite the fact that what we say on here right now. But it's I don't. Corruption is a strong word, AFC always. But I get where you're coming from. Let's just go on to maybe a segment to close things along for tonight, which maybe originally had its orientation over at Cannon Chatter TV. Ridiculous link story of the week. And just all right, we'll read Nick's comment. Arsenal are definitely treated differently. It doesn't make the other bad decisions right either. For another team, though, I know we're going to say that, but then everyone says they're right the own thing about their own sides, don't they? There's, it's a very, you have to have certain colour goggles to say something like that, I suppose. You understand? Like we've got red colour goggles on to make Arsenal decisions, but it's all round the game.
Yeah. AFC always says, have you seen that photo of Odegaard holding up the Champions League on X or Twitter? Seriously, why do that? What are you on about? Let's see what is... Hang on.
Well, it's interesting you bring up a certain word there. I haven't seen that yet. But as I was just about to allude to, ridiculous story of the week. Going to talk about Rob Holding, everybody. This is going to be fun. So, as you all know, Rob Holding was our favourite defender last season and was always very consistent. Had top performances.
Bad, yeah.
Top performances when we needed him. No, I mean, in all seriousness, the right decision in my eyes was made when he went out and left the club in the summer. It would have been or should have been a better move for him. Sorry, I just have to stop myself and stop myself from screaming because there's a big equalising goal in the England game. Desmond now. Coming from 2-0 down, the girls are back to 2-2. That's Lauren Hemp who's just scored. Beth Mead is on, by the way, for England, just as a little caveat. Yeah, it should have been a great move for Rob Holding's career. It has not worked out well at all, has it, Bosch? I don't even think, correct me if I'm wrong, he's started a handful of Premier League games, if that. So, imagine my surprise when I read on the old Twitter machine that one Robert Holding has been linked with a return to Arsenal in January. Now, a bit of talk. This is rumour and innuendo. That's why I've left it to the last sort of segment for today. Imagine, right? After all that talk, apparently he's good at training. That was the talk. That was the talk.
I've not found it. No, I haven't. AFC always. You might slide into my DMs and send me that photo and
either
yeah,
that or
on Twitter
or at me at Goonally Meets and just pop it on the main bit on Twitter if you want. That's absolutely fine. But you'll see it. So we'll keep an eye on what. I'm kind of thinking we're looking. You might be looking at a bit of a doctored pictures of Martin Odegaard there. That's what I'm kind of thinking there. I wouldn't be taking in too much with what you might have seen on Twitter. And so yeah, Rob Holding. I knew you'd be really happy about this one, Bosch. So go ahead.
I haven't seen anything involving this, so I'm going to have to rely on you to tell me the truth here, Mr. Meadows, because I don't know what source you found that from. Was it ketchup? Was it mustard? I don't know. But
it was retweeted by one Lee Gunner as well.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
so if you want some beef to go along with that, it's it's one that he obviously was going to react really well to, because he's a very level-headed guy, is Lee. He's much like us.
I've been in the video with him, and I want to be in his good books, so I'm not going to say a word here. But no, I will say the whole not celebrating the Havertz goal was a silly thing to do. I will say that. But I can't see it happening. I can't.
No.
If Rob Holding comes back to Arsenal in January, that's everything about ambition for our football club. Yeah, we don't get Douglas Luiz or a striker. Get Robbie Holding back. No, I can't. Absolutely. I don't think that's going to happen. There's a reason why Rob Holding can't get a game for Palace. It's because he's not up to the Premier League standard. But I don't think that will happen, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah,
I don't know. I have not heard anything. I don't know if Sky Sports or anything has reported on that.
Yeah.
So we'll have to. I think we'll.
Would it be a more ridiculous return than CM Punk going to the WWE?
Rob Holding is not here to make friends. He's here to make money. No, I can't see happening. I've just looked up Rob Holding under the news section on the old Google, and I've not seen anything about Rob Holding's return to Arsenal. So I will take that little rumor with a pinch of salt. But it will be the most Arsenal thing to happen if it does end up happening. Saliba gets injured when we're challenging for the title in March. Here comes Super Rob. We got Man City in April, I think. Yo, absolutely. What's that song? Let's go round again. What's the,
It's a shame. We should have done karaoke night on my birthday, mate. I would have liked that.
No.
Dismissing that idea straight off the bat. I'm just going to see if I can find off Lee's, the other Lee, not me. See if I can see it off Lee's. Oh, this is the same guy who was wondering if we could have won the league under Unai Emery as opposed to Arteta last season. So I don't know. Just bear with me a minute as I just sort of have a little nose around. Should have put this on the old share screen thing actually, but maybe I'll have a look at this later on. But yeah, is there anything else that you want to talk about on today's stream, mate? Because I think we are probably about done.
You mentioned, you mentioned Unai. We'll probably touch on this when it comes to the Villa game, but you mentioned if he would have won the league under Unai Emery or not. I think if he was back the same way Arteta was, and if some of the egos in the dressing room actually listened to him and what he had to say, I reckon he would have been a success story at this club. I reckon he would have done a good job. But that was then.
I've seen it. I've seen what I'm looking for.
Okay. Let me answer AFC Always' question. Who will Reigns fight out of CM Punk or Randy Orton at WrestleMania? I think one of those, more likely Randy, will probably happen at the Royal Rumble. And I think they're still going to try and get Cody Rhodes to finish the story again at WrestleMania. That's what I think is going to happen. I can see Roman and Randy happening at the Rumble. Roman and Punk, don't know what happens there. Do you even need the belt for that? Who knows? That probably will happen down the line, though.
Yeah, there you go. Posh, check your WhatsApp personal.
Okay.
Has that actually slid through? Actually, I'm not sure it has. There you go. Should have done that. I actually, if this is legit, by the way, if this story is legit, what Lee says might be accurate when he says that Lee says that there's no way anyone can tell me this club is a serious outfit. Sorry.
Yeah.
If Holding comes in.
Yeah. Okay.
It's instantly reacting to this, boys and girls. So bear with us.
Okay. So I mean, I've not seen anything from RJ Arsenal blog. I have no idea who this person is. That's the source it came from. So I've not seen any major like ITKs or anything, or even websites or anything like that talking about this. So I don't know. Personally, famous last words here, but I can't see it happening. This is the only source I've seen this, so I can't.
And if he does sign for us, will he show up right at the end of a match with Cult of Personality playing?
I was thinking more this fire burns, I think the other one. No, I think oh no. Imagine if that does happen. I don't think it will, but
it's given us a little laugh. Let's be honest. So before we wrap up, going back for tomorrow's game, important. I think you may have said keep the momentum up. In terms of you're getting results and stuff like that. Rhys Waters is a name that keeps on we bring up.
Yeah.
But hasn't stepped foot onto the pitch yet, I don't think. So we'll see. Thank you, AFC. Always great show as always. It says keep up the good work. The channel is growing and will keep on growing. That is the idea, everybody. That's why we're here, to have a bit of fun. You can see the chemistry between myself and my boy here.
And you know what to do when it comes to making this channel grow, AFC. Always tell your friends, tell your neighbours, tell the next door's dog, anything. Tell them all about our channel, okay? Everyone.
That's the way to do it, everybody.
Tell them to give us a subscribe.
And a big old like spike. That's what we want.
Absolutely. Get the chat excited.
As our good old friend Mr. Pacici says. Go for a prediction for tomorrow's match, mate, before we head out.
Well, we're not going to do a watch along, so we're probably going to win.
Come on!
I'm going to say, I think Wolves will come into this game with a bit of motivation, a bit of because of the VAR thing, and they'll want to try and, and Gary O'Neill's a tough cookie as well, isn't he, for big clubs? Just ask Postecoglou. So I think they will park the bus and try and counter-attack at the very first opportunity when they get the ball. But I think we've got enough quality. I think it'll be 3-1. It'll be similar to the Burnley game, I think. It'll be 3-1.
You've gone for exactly the scoreline I was going to go for, mate. So
AFC always has gone for 2-1.
2. Anyone else want to put a prediction in before we wrap up? As I sort of bring it to a close, I want to thank Posh Bertie for his assistance on the stream this evening. Always wonderful to be here. And I want to thank everybody who has been watching us. This is why we do it. We do it for an audience around us. Thank you, Nick. 4-0. That'll be nice to see. That'll be perfect. The way to end. Go for our weekend.
Yeah. 10 goals in 2 games. Clear. 10 goals in 2 games at the Emirates.
Can you imagine it? Can you imagine it? So
that'll be a good 10-2. That would be a good 10-2, won't it?
That'll be one to see, definitely. So, thank you all for watching us on my birthday. We do this for you to keep you entertained and make you laugh. Hopefully, we managed to do that. I'm going to put up our social medias on so you can find us all on there. There they are. Go for it, Bertie. The floor is yours.
Yes, you can follow me on X or Twitter at Posh Bertie, and my Instagram is at Bertie Wanless.
Thank you very much. As I said earlier on, if you wanted to donate to the channel, and you don't have to, but there is a pinned tweet, I think it's still called that, or pinned comment. It's at Gooner Gathering. You can find me personally on Gooner Lee Meads as well. Please make sure you have a look on the TikTok page when we upload little clips, mainly off the watch-alongs and stuff like that. That's always a good thing to watch. That's always a good time. So I think we're pretty much done. I think we're cleared on the comments. So I think we're going to get out of here. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my evening. I'm going to watch the end of the game with the Lionesses and the Netherlands. It's just been a fun night. Thank you all for being here, and we shall see you next time.